The next piece of intelligence that we're going to put into our sprinkler system is a rain delay. And what the rain delay is going to do, it's going to look at the upcoming forecast, it's going to look at the next 36 hours of rain forecast data, and it'll determine if there is rain. If there is rain upcoming, it's going to say, I'm not going to want to double water. I'm not going to want to have the sprinkler turn on and then the rain come. I'm going to prevent the sprinkler from running if there's rain upcoming, a significant amount of rain. And we're going to use that again using the Open Weather Map API. So we're going to put this in new flow. Grab a new tab here, call it rain delay. And let's get the upcoming forecast. So open this node and go back to my API, paste it in, and instead of current weather, this time I'm going to get the 5-day forecast. And let's go ahead and do it for Boston. Not sure if it's going to rain in the next 36 hours. And get a name. All right, now let's take an inject node. So now we're going to parse our forecast. So we're going to use a function node. And give it a name of parse upcoming forecast. And let's go grab the code for this. Let's connect this for a second. And let's step out of this for a second and put in a debug node here and explain what's happening in this step. Let's go to our debug area and inject. Oh, can't find my city. And you notice the weather data is coming at us a little bit differently. We have an array now with more items than last time, numbered. And what these are 3-hour increments. So in the upcoming 3 hours, give us some weather data, some clouds, some wind data, temperature. And it does this every in 3-hour increments. 3 hours from now, 6, 9, 12, etc. And if there were to be rain, it would give us a rain object. And there are none right here. I might put in a different city. Yeah, I'm not finding any. So let's switch our city for a second. Let's say, I happen to know it's pretty rainy in Florida right now. All right, so this is Florida's weather. And there it is. So in addition to the normal items, it's giving us this rain, and it's saying in this 3-hour period, this happens to be in millimeters. So we're getting 0.16 millimeters of rain in the forecast. So considering this, let's look at our function. So our function is saying this. For 12 items in our array, let's first set a default value of no rain, but let's look through those 12 items. And remember, they're 3-hour increments, so 12 times 3 is 36. So for the next 12 increments, or the next 36 hours, let's check each one to check if rain is in the payload. So when there is rain, you'll see it in the payload here. When there's not, like this one, you won't find it, and it'll just move on to the next item. So if there is rain, then go ahead and tell me if that rain is greater than 2 millimeters. And if it's greater than 2 millimeters, that's the threshold for us to kick off a rain delay. This 2 millimeters is somewhat arbitrary. It's a little under 1/10 of an inch in 3 hours. That it's somewhat significant rain. You may want to change this, but for the purposes of this demo, 2 millimeters in 3-hour period is what we are using as our minimum threshold to kick off a rain delay. And if we find that in any of the upcoming 3-hour increments, then we are going to set rain expected to true and pass that along in our message. So that's what's happening in this function here. So now that we understand that, let's move on and add a switch. And we're going to call this switch rain check. Take the payload that's coming out of that function that we just described, and we're going to have 2 rules here. First rule is if it is true. And the second rule, you guessed it, if it is false. And click done. So there's 2 paths that we can go from here. Let's bring in a change node. And we're going to say set rain delay true. And then we'll be set a global variable called rain delay to actually I'll reverse that. It's take message payload and set global rain delay based on that. Okay, and let's connect what we have so far. So this is the outcome, the output for if it is true. And now let's copy this and set a rain delay to false. So set global rain delay to, in this case, we're going to say Boolean false. And connect that one to the is false outcome. So now we have a global variable called rain delay, which we are going to have to feed into our main sprinkler to kind of make it intelligent and either allow the sprinkler to turn on or prevent it from turning on based on the rain delay status. But first thing we're going to do before that is we're going to graphically represent our rain delay. So let's take a switch node. This is a dashboard switch. And configure it. We're going to put it in sprinkler information controls, size 2x1, label, rain delay. Get a custom icon, and this is a clouds with rain icon. And this is obviously a sun icon indicating no rain. On payload type Boolean true, off payload is false, and click done. And let's take a change node. And call this rain delay manual override. And we're going to do very similar to what we just did in one of the previous change nodes. We're going to set global rain delay to message payload. connect all of our nodes. So what's happening here is we've added this graphical element on our dashboard. We can actually look at that. It's right here. We can move that around in a second. But it's a toggle. We let users toggle it. And so if a user toggle it, that's essentially them manually turning on or off the rain delay, which we want to allow them to do. And so we're taking that value, which is off right now, for example, and passing that into our global variable for rain delay. So sometimes the forecast will do it on an automatic basis. The forecast will do it. But if a user wants to manually override it, they can do that from the dashboard and change the rain delay variable that way. So let's put in a couple comments here. Let's get a placehold, and you can write them in on your own. But we're getting the forecast here, parsing it, setting the rain delay to true or false, and displaying a toggle and allowing manual override. So now we have this global variable. By the way, place to check for all of your global variables is a place called context data. This right panel here, context data. You have your global variables down here. You can refresh and see them, so we can see rain delay is false right now. And if we were to go to our dashboard and turn it on and refresh, you see now that a rain delay is true. So now let's add a little bit of logic to our sprinkler to take this rain delay into account. So we're going to go to our main sprinkler GUI, and we're going to drag a switch node right before our function here. And change the connection. Auto start goes into switch. And this switch is going to take into account our rain delay variable, so we'll call it rain delay check. And the property is that global variable called rain delay. This one here. I think we could just copy this. Nope. Okay, you can't copy that, but you can do it this way. Our global variable rain delay. And we're only going to check that the rain delay is false. So is false is the one rule that we're going to check. So I'm going to click done, explain that. So what we said is if the global variable rain delay is false, then you may continue and go along on this string. If it is true, it will simply, this condition will not be met. Nothing else will be checked. It'll just exit. So we don't need to add that rule specifically. The only rule we have is to check if it is false. Let's deploy. And let's go to our dashboard. Let's move some things around. So we'll go dashboard, sprinkler information, layout, and here's our rain delay switch. And we'll put that, let's take our status, move it over here, rain delay, here. See how that looks. Time zone, yep. Right now the rain delay is on, and so now let's test that our rain delay is working. Let's turn on some zones, and let's say we want to start this at 4:34 p.m. automatic mode. But because it'll run into this rain delay at 4:34, by design, this should not start. And it did not. So now let's switch this, make it 4:35. Turn the rain delay off manually. And at 4:35, let's see if it goes off. And there it goes.